you're going to be really pleased with what we have in store for you today. And I'm sure, like me, you can't quite believe that it's been 40 years. I know some of you, not quite that long, but for those of you that were around in 1977, it is truly going to be an awesome celebration. When George Lucas first asked me to join Lucasfilm, I thought I had some idea of how thrilling and surprising and frankly emotional this was going to be, you know, creating more of an expanded Star Wars universe. But what I've experienced has really exceeded my wildest dreams. And you and the films are the most important part of that journey. Your passion, your dedication, and your love of Star Wars, you guys have no idea how that inspires us every single day. We consider all of you a part of the Lucasfilm family. And what an honor it's been to also work with some of the original trilogy filmmakers and the cast and crew, and also some of those filmmakers who weren't even born when Star Wars first came out. But the greatest honor for me is to acknowledge the man whose collective genius has brought us all together today. Please welcome
welcome to Celebration, George. Does that always happen when you walk into a room?
Not like this.
No.
Not like this.
So, firstly, thank you for being here at Celebration.
Thank you.
I mean, it's absolutely incredible. We're celebrating 40 years of Star Wars. How do you feel? How does that make you feel? Apart from old.
Well, the shock was, I hired you when you were 11 years old.
Yeah.
And now you have gray hair.
Well,
let me know what 40 years is.
Well, it's the stress of the business, you see, that you introduced me to. That's what's done it. So, now watching that video that we saw, I mean, it brings back so many fantastic memories. The moments, the people, the fans, and of course, among those faces in there, two faces that are of true legends that are no longer with us, sadly. We recently lost Carrie Fisher and Kenny Baker. Now, absolutely. Now, these were two people who were inspirational to me in my early career, and I just want to acknowledge that we all love and miss them, and will continue to celebrate their legacies during this show today, at the event, and also beyond. Now, George, cast your mind back, all the way back to the early 70s. I want to know about that moment you first came up with Star Wars. Where were you? What was going on?
Well, you know, again, Star Wars evolved. It didn't come out in one thing.
Well, there wasn't a moment. You were
there was a moment, but it was like an idea.
See,
and the idea was more, I would like to make an action movie, which is more like a Saturday matinee serial that I enjoyed as a kid, but imbue it with mythological, psychological motifs, because we don't have any of those today. So I said, well, I'm going to take these two things and put them together. And again, I did it, and then a few years later, I ended up making a deal with United Artists. They said, what other movies do you have? Because I was making a deal for American Graffiti. I said, I have this sort of space opera thing. They said, okay, we'll do a deal for that. The one thing you've got to learn about studios is that if you get your break, you say, I got a script. They say, well, we'll do that, but we want to own you. We want to do all the films you ever make in the world. And you say, well, that's fantastic, until you get to the next level and suddenly you realize you've signed away your life. But, so anyway, it wasn't really until, because I wasn't even thinking about it. I was thinking about American Graffiti. That was the movie I was making. And so then what really happened was, after American Graffiti, the studio considered it to be so bad they wouldn't release it. So I was out of a job. I'd made one movie, which was a cult favorite, which I liked, but nobody else did. And then,
I think they did.
And then I did this other rock and roll film, which wasn't even good enough to be released. So when I went into the world, there's this other side of all this, which is, I say, they want to own you for life. Well, if you have two films that aren't successful, they don't want to see you. They don't even have lunch with you. They don't want anything. They don't even know who you are. So, but in American Graffiti, in an effort to get people to surround him, we had all these screenings, and at one of the screenings, the head of 20th Century Fox came, and Alan Ladd Jr., and he just came up to me afterwards and says, I love this movie. I think this is the greatest movie of all time. I want to do your next movie. I don't know what it is, but you're a talented guy, and I want to make the movie. I said, well, I got this movie. It's sort of a space opera thing. We have, I make dogs driving spaceships. And he goes,
that's a good pitch.
He said, okay, I'll do it. And he followed me all the way through, even though the board of directors had said, what in the world is this? And right up until the very end. And he fought for it. He helped me make it. And that's when I began to own the idea, because I was still writing scripts. And any of you that read the books, I took an idea and I was looking for a story, I was looking for a thing, I was looking to make it be something. And so I went through a lot of different versions of it, and until I finally got to the one, and even when I was shooting in Tunisia, I was still rewriting. So, the idea was simply to do a high adventure film that I loved when I was a kid, with meaningful psychological themes. And, I don't know what I felt. It was like a really cockamamie idea. So I did that, but again, seeing the film tonight and seeing it when we were shooting in various places after the first one, seeing all the kids, it's hard for people to realize, and I'm not supposed to say this, and I wasn't supposed to say it then, but, it's a film for 12-year-olds.
But it brings out the kid in all of us, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it was designed to be a film, like mythology, of this is what we stand for. You're about to enter the real world. You're 12 years old. You're going to go on into the big world. You're moving away from your parents being the center focus. You're probably scared. You don't know what's going to happen. And here's a little idea of some of the things you should pay attention to. Friendships, honesty, and trust, and doing the right thing, living on the light side, avoiding the dark side. Those are things that it was meant to do, and obviously the real thrill was when I see some of those little things, but I see the fans, and we, when we were in Spain shooting Padme's palace, you know, there were 10,000, like here, and they were all little tiny kids. They were reaching through this fence. It was a metal fence. It was like, you know, the White House. It was a, you know, it's a national landmark, that palace.
Yeah.
And they were all reaching their hands out, even little tiny ones. They had no idea who I was, but all they wanted to do was touch my hand. And I said, you know, this is what I did it for. Everything, none of it makes any difference, except you know, just in the real world, you know, the critics, certain fans and things, you know, they're not very kind. But when you see all these little kids and you see the look on their face, and what it means to them, it forgives everything.
Well, you know, George, I was, absolutely, yeah. I was one of those kids, you see. I mean, at 7 years old, I remember seeing Star Wars and I immediately fell in love with it. But little did I know at that point, 4 years later when I was 11, you would give me the opportunity to go to that galaxy far, far away and meet my heroes, which was incredible. And since then, Star Wars has become an integral part of my life and career. Not a day goes by that I'm not talked about Star Wars, somebody doesn't talk to me about Star Wars. And I just want to have this opportunity now to say thank you, sincerely, George, for all of the opportunities you've given me and for making that small boy's wish come true. So thank you very much indeed. And I've got a letter here, actually, that I wrote to you just after we finished filming Jedi back in 1983. Dear Mr. Lucas, my name is Warwick. I hope you remember me. I helped you make the new Star Wars film last year. I hear that the film is being released in this country